Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. Since Jose Mourinho has taken over at the club from Pochettino, Tottenham Hotspur have seen a sharp uptick in form and results, meaning that they're back in the race for the Champions League places. Part of the reason for this improvement has been Mourinho's choice of tactics, so in this video we take a look at them. A good way to assess some of Mourinho's tactical tendencies is by looking at statistical changes. A great place you can get these stats is our video sponsor, OneFootball. It's a great free app that you can get through the link in the description for news, transfers, stats and more, and it helps support the channel. Since Mourinho took over, Spurs have been scoring more often, conceding less often, and subsequently gaining points at a greater rate. In fact, whilst Pochettino left the club in 12th place, since Mourinho has come in, only Liverpool and City have accumulated more points. The increased goal scoring under Mourinho is emblematic of some of the problems that were beginning to show up for Spurs under Pochettino of late, where despite maintaining relatively stable amounts of possession, their shots per game, and as a result their goals, were steadily decreasing. Has Mourinho fixed this? Well, let's take a look at how he sets up Spurs to attack. Jose Mourinho has been fluid in his choice of formation so far, but his most common setup has been the 4-2-3-1, and his most common personnel has looked like this. When building up through the centre-backs, his full-backs are key to his game plan. His right-back options were Serge Aurier and Kyle Walker-Peters, whilst the left-back options were Rose, Davies and Vertonghen. On the right, Walker-Peters is still relatively inexperienced and hasn't quite shown enough to be the first choice, so Aurier has been a key element for Mourinho. On the left, Rose is capable of defending, but is undoubtedly better going forward. Ben Davies and Vertonghen are better defensively than offensively, so Mourinho looked to play to his strengths, allowing Aurier to be more offensive and being more defensive on the left-hand side, as evidenced by Mourinho letting Rose go out on loan. So during the attack, Vertonghen tucks in to form a back three, whilst Aurier marauds forwards into an almost right-wing position. In this manner, he has 5 attacking players and 5 defensive players, giving him numbers in every phase of play. This will also give them more numbers in the first build-up line, using 3 centre-backs as opposed to 2, potentially allowing them to play out more effectively. The positioning of the fullbacks also means that Son usually stays out wide, hugging the touchline during the build-up, whilst Lucas Moura can move in behind the forward and next to Alli. What this means is that often, Mourinho can enact a side overload on the left, with Alli free to provide Son support, whilst Moura in his tucked-in position occupies the left fullback. At the same time, Aurier hugs the touchline, freeing himself to receive the switch and advance to attempt the cross into the box. Similar openings can be created through Alli providing a central option, whilst Moura tucks in, allowing Aurier to use his pace on the overlap to lose his marker and have a cross. Aurier's increased attacking threat from out wide can be seen in a few statistics, including more assists, as well as a higher XG chain and XG build-up per 90, showing his importance to Spurs' build-up play. The double pivot is also key to Mourinho's build-up, as they link the defense to the attack. Harry Winks has consistently been in the pivot this season for Mourinho and Pochettino, but Pochettino played Sissoko or Dele alongside Winks, which could be problematic. Whilst both men do defensive work, they prefer to advance with the ball at their feet to join the attacking phase, but this leaves Winks, who isn't the best defensively, to mop up a lot of ground. Mourinho has gone for Dyer next to Winks in almost every match, which has been made an easier choice by Dembele's niggling injuries. When the ball does progress to midfield, it is Winks' job to rotate the ball around the team and potentially look for the incisive pass into the attacking midfield, and he regularly completes the most passes for the team's midfield. But unlike Pochettino, who gave his pivots more room to move forward and support the attack, Mourinho prefers his pivots to remain as a shield in front of the defense, to provide solidity. And in fact, Winks' shots per game and key pass numbers have fallen drastically under Mourinho. In fact, often Mourinho doesn't risk playing through the midfield. With Christian Eriksen gone, they don't have a creative 10, so Mourinho may deem it less necessary to play into these central regions. Instead, he uses the passing range of his centre-backs, particularly Alderweireld, to counter this, as although Winks is press resistant, Dyer can be targeted on the press, so Mourinho wants to avoid this. Dele, Lucas and Son all possess great movement, whilst the latter two have pace as well. So whenever a team plays a high line, Spurs are not afraid to go direct. This is shown by the reduction in opposition passes per defensive action, simply how many passes Spurs play before losing the ball. The reduction comes as a result of Spurs going more direct. Speaking of Alli, he has seen a resurgence under Mourinho. His goals and assists have both risen, albeit in more games played. But more tellingly, his expected goals and expected assists per 90 have become significantly higher, alongside his expected build-up per 90. This is because early in the season, Spurs struggled with ball progression from the defense to the midfield, when Dele was unavailable. And in fact, they have struggled with this since Moussa Dembele left the club. As a result, Pochettino often dropped Alli deeper when Spurs had possession to do this. It's a role he played earlier in his career, but it's fair to say he's evolved into a different type of player. By moving him back to the 10 and giving him more freedom, he has experienced a new lease of life. The movements of the forwards around him is key. Heung-min Son is deadly in front of goal and can often be seen moving into more central areas. And when he does this, Alli is comfortable drifting wide left to take advantage of the room here and give the team balance, as the left back is more defensive. However, with a double pivot deep and drawing a press, Kane, when fit, and Moura will stretch the defense, pushing them deeper and opening up more room in this region for Alli to look to play one of them in. At the same time, Alli is more of an off-the-ball 10, using movement to get into dangerous regions more often than making plays on the ball. Kane, or whoever has played as a free 9 since his injury, is capable of dropping deep into the 10 position, allowing Alli to run beyond them and try and get a shot off. So how has he pivoted things in the defensive phase? Well, under Pochettino, the team had become well renowned for their intense pressing game. But the effectiveness of the press has been steadily diminishing as the profile of the squad has changed. This year, their passes defensive action was the highest it had ever been under Poch, as the press had become haphazard, meaning oppositions could play through them on the counter. Mourinho has tried to avoid this in a few ways. Firstly, by building more direct and often skipping the midfield, it limits the chances of conceding a turnover when in possession, leading to a counter-attack with his players in attacking positions. In addition, by only building up with one fullback up at a time, it means that when there is a turnover, they are better equipped to deal with the wide and central transitions. This is only aided by having a strong double pivot, which is not overly concerned with attacking, and therefore can be proactive in trying to snuff out attacks. Add to that the fact that for the most part, Mourinho isn't concerned with a high press, and his passes per defensive action so far is higher than any PPDA Poch allowed, even in his lowest pressing season. But the difference is, although Poch's pressing dropped off this season, it was mainly due to an inefficient system, where players would still be sporadically pressing. With Mourinho, not pressing is a deliberate tactic, meaning that they fall further back as a unit. They drop deep into a 4-4-2, with the hard-working Son and Moura occupying the flanks and Aurier having the pace to track back. Dele Alli often takes up a position in the 2, initially alongside Kane. The team then aims to remain compact, pressing in their own half and looking to win any loose balls. Alli's positioning means that on the counter-attack, he and Kane can make opposing movements to open up space, while Son and Moura can look to exploit the wide areas. These changes mean that on paper at least, Mourinho Spurs have shown improvement in most key statistical regions compared to Pochettino. However, Mourinho is not without criticism. His game plan has been accused of being overly simplistic and overly defensive, and likely to be taken advantage of by bigger teams. Against City, they were overrun and somehow came away with the win, whilst his encounters against Liverpool have barely shown any attacking ambition. Long term, a more coherent attacking strategy may have to be formed, and we may only get to see Mourinho's true Spurs after some off-season training and recruitment. But for now, perhaps this is enough to guide them into Europe. But what are your thoughts on Mourinho Spurs? Will we see his tactics evolve with some summer signings, or do they not need to change at all? How will the top 4 look at the end of the season? Drop it down in the comments below. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.